And what does that make? Ketchup.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Hey, welcome back to ScreenCrush. I'm Ryan Airy. So guys, it's no secret right now that Disney is struggling. Wish just became one of their worst openings for Disney with a 19.5 million three-day weekend. The Marvels debuted around 47 million domestically, making it the lowest in franchise history, and Ahsoka had a massive 40% drop in viewership, making its numbers worse than The Mandalorian Season 3 finale.
What the hell's going on?
Even Disney admits that it's in trouble. In its annual SEC report, Disney acknowledged that we face the risk relating to misalignment with public and consumer tastes and preferences for entertainment, travel, and consumer products. The success of our businesses depends on our ability to consistently create compelling content, and that generally our revenues and profitability are adversely impacted when our entertainment offerings and products, as well as our methods to make our offerings and products available to consumers, do not achieve sufficient consumer acceptance. Long story short, they're making stuff that people don't want to watch. And look, there's a ton of theory videos on the internet about why Disney properties aren't drawing audiences to the theater and to their streaming service. There's too many, it's the strike, movie tickets are too expensive, streaming killed the business, it's the superhero fatigue, it's too woke, it's Kathleen Kennedy's fault.
Put a chick in it, make her gay!
And while I don't think it's Kathleen Kennedy's fault, and yes, some of those reasons are legit factors, no one's really talking about the central issue here. The scripts have been leaning more into the plot and less into the characters. If audiences aren't attached to the characters, then no one's going to watch. That's the real problem, and I'm going to talk about it.
If you want something done, do it yourself!
Geez, I can't find a single good thing.
Oh, what's up, buddy?
Well, I'm trying to find a special gift for my best friend, but everything on the internet's just so basic, you know, like everything is just the same.
Yeah, I know, it's really hard to find the right gift for some people.
Yeah, and my buddy's awesome, and I just want him to know that I think he is special and that he is my best friend.
Oh, well, I got a really good idea for you. This week we're partnering with Holzkern for this video. So Holzkern makes fantastic one-of-a-kind timepieces that are made with natural products. For instance, this watch is called the Permian. It's made from apple wood and antique silver, and frankly, it is just an exquisite timepiece.
Oh yeah, is that one yours?
I wish. I mean, this is just a sample when they sent us for the video. Holzkern makes a great gift because you can't find these custom watches anywhere else. And their wood is also FCS certified, so it does not come from deforestation. And everything they make is partially made from natural materials. You know, like looking at this watch and its wood face, it's just a reminder to like stop and be more mindful of your life and of nature. Oh, and also they sent me these sunglasses called the Badass 2. How do they look, Doug?
Yeah, you look pretty bad butt, person.
Thanks, man. Holzkern is a small family-owned company based in Austria that has served over 1 million happy customers, and they have more than 1,000 unique designs on their website. So now for a limited time, you can use the link in the description and use our discount code ScreenCrush15 to get 15% off your purchase. It's a great deal, perfect for the holidays, and Doug, this watch would make a great gift for your friend.
Thank you so much for the recommendation.
Now, back to what I was saying. So look, stories are either plot or character-driven narratives. A plot-driven story focuses mainly on the unfolding events and actions, such as with Star Wars and Lord of the Rings films. In a character-driven narrative, the protagonist's thoughts, emotions, and choices are emphasized over the plot, such as in The Breakfast Club or in Joker. Now, look, there's pros and cons to both kinds of storytelling. A character-driven story allows the audience to imprint onto the characters in the film as we grow to understand their wants and internal struggles, creating a more relatable person for us to root for. Yet, a character-driven narrative can really drag pacing-wise if the plot is too thin without an engaging, overarching narrative. Like Boyhood, for example, was great. I enjoyed the characters, yet I don't really remember anything that happened besides the fact that he grew up and it was filmed over the course of 12 years. But a plot-driven story offers escalating events and conflicts for characters to overcome, thus engaging the audience to come along for the journey. Without fully developed characters, though, the plot can feel contrived and forced, with characters acting out of accordance with their inner nature because, the plot says they have to do it.
Why do I take the things into the study? Wouldn't it be more natural if I left them on stage?
No.
Thought it might be more logical somehow.
No.
Ahsoka is a plot-driven narrative that fell victim to this trap and thus struggled to bring in viewers every week. Most claim it's because Star Wars requires you to watch too many past projects to follow the story and understand the character's ambitions. Now look, that's a fair critique, but a good filmmaker won't rely on that crutch. You didn't need to read the Lord of the Rings books to watch the films. Peter Jackson opened Fellowship with a tightly outlined prologue accentuating vital information the viewer needs, and then spends a brief but specific amount of time with our POV characters, Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin, so we can attach ourselves to them before their call to protect the Shire. Now, we go into more detail on how brilliant the first 36 minutes of The Fellowship of the Ring are compared to The Hobbit, which you really should watch that video, it's quite good. Now, back to Ahsoka. The running joke about the show was that it should have just been called Star Wars Rebels Season 5 instead of the titular character name, because those characters seemed more fully developed in Ahsoka, especially the character of Sabine. She wants to find Ezra, and Ezra was like family to her, and she currently has no family. The Empire killed them, and then Ezra trapped Thrawn in another galaxy, disappearing from her life. She will stop at nothing to get him back, even risk possibly bringing Thrawn back, which would start another war and kill thousands of people in the process. Now, while she never actually suffers severe consequences for her choice, and really that bugs me by the way, it's pretty messed up, we still learn a lot about her within the confines of this show without ever having to watch anything else. Ahsoka the character, though, is a different story. She wants to hunt for Thrawn and stop him. Why? I guess because he's the bad guy of the story and she's the lead good guy, and good guys fight bad guys.
Tell us, we will die like dogs.
You will die like dogs.
No, we will not die like dogs.
Unless you watch 7 seasons of Clone Wars and 4 seasons of Rebels, you don't know that Ahsoka promised to come after Ezra herself in the World Between Worlds after he saved her life.
When you get back, come and find me.
I will. I promise.
So in addition to Sabine, she also has a personal driving factor in finding Ezra. Because the plot also wants Ahsoka to take Sabine with her, it ignores that Ahsoka in The Mandalorian and the Boba Fett series was cautious about training anyone with attachment issues. Like, remember, she refused to train Grogu.
You cannot train him. His attachment to you makes him vulnerable to his fears.
Now, because Ahsoka's promise to Ezra is never thoroughly explored, it looks like this is a break in the continuity of character traits. Like, Sabine's driving factor is her attachment to Ezra. Like, why would Ahsoka be worried about Grogu's attachment to Din and not worried about Sabine's attachment to Ezra? It's like, so Sabine's attachment is okay and Grogu's is not.
Doesn't make any sense.
Now, look, is the choice to have Ahsoka hunt for Thrawn and take Sabine as a Padawan terrible? No. It's just not executed in a way that makes sense for what we know about the character. We don't get any clue about what's internally going on with Ahsoka until halfway through the series. And even then, it doesn't correlate with how she feels about Thrawn, Ezra, or Sabine. It's about trauma from her past and her relationship with her former master, Anakin.
I'm here to finish your training.
It's a little late for that.
One is never too old to learn, Snips.
I mean, don't get me wrong, that was a fantastic episode and one of my favorites from the show, but it does nothing to clue the audience in on what makes the hunt for Thrawn so important for Ahsoka, or why Sabine is her chosen Padawan over Grogu. It's, hey, remember the Clone Wars cartoons? Hey, remember Anakin from the prequels? Look, we got them all right here for you. It's like the show was designed more for channels like ours to go through and point out all the references and Easter eggs, instead of like trying to create a well-rounded POV character. And by the way, our Easter egg and reference videos were pretty great. You should check them out. We're getting Zepho in live action.
The water? What the fudge is this thing?
Oh, hey Doug. Didn't know you'd be here so soon. That is our new Doug the Manager plushie.
Well, I don't like it. Oh, how come you don't like me? I am so small and cute. Person, you gotta get rid of this thing.
Well, buddy, I can't get rid of it, but if any of you would like your very own Doug the Manager plushie, we have partnered with Makeshift to make these things happen. So this is a campaign that we're running where we have to sell a certain amount of them up front. And guys, this is a very limited time only. I think it's only like a week left, depending on when this video posts. So if you go to the link below, we have a link to it at our merch store, or it's at makeshift.com, Doug the Manager. You can get yours today. The window is going to close really soon. I'm not just like trying to like pressure you into buying one, but if you want one, you got to do it like right now, because they're going to go soon.
Good, because I hate this thing.
Calm down, you two. Easy, you two. Look, the bottom line is that Ahsoka feels like homework because the audience doesn't empathize with Ahsoka's fear of turning to the dark side like her former master, or empathize with her guilt for letting down Sabine when she trained her the first time. The narrative didn't lean into any of this. Instead, it leaned into the plot. It placed the story ahead of the character. Marvel properties from Phase 4 suffer from a similar formula, forgetting to take the time to develop new characters in favor of highlighting the main multiverse-shattering plot thread. And look, this formula is a complete 180 from how Marvel handled its heroes in Phases 1 to 3. Before team-ups were even close to being assembled, we were treated to solo outings of the most significant players so we could familiarize ourselves with them and with their characters. In the Iron Man films, we learned that Tony Stark is a brilliant but flawed man striving to atone for his past choices with his father's company, and he hopes to leave a more positive legacy under the Stark name. In the Captain America films, we discover that Steve Rogers is a courageous, loyal, fish-out-of-water soldier whose moral compass is constantly challenged, and then he struggles with his place in a society that is not his own. The Thor films showcase the journey of an egotistical, privileged god who must learn the value of others and put aside selfish needs to become a good leader. Now, because of these films, less exposition is was required when the Avengers rolled around, and the plot to stop Loki from taking over the planet was able to take front seat. We understand more clearly what's at stake. We know who the characters are, therefore we are excited to see them team up and win the day. That did not happen with the Eternals or with the Marvels. The Eternals had the daunting task of introducing 10 new characters into the MCU, and Marvel only gave them 2 hours and 37 minutes to execute a backstory on who they were individually, what their purpose was, where they've been this entire time, and why we should care what happens to them.
Yeah, why was that not a Disney Plus show?
That's a good question, Doug, and I have no idea. Out of all the Marvel properties introduced after Endgame, that was the one that made the most sense to put in a series format instead of a feature. There wasn't enough time to create complete character arcs for each member of the team, and therefore the stakes didn't feel high and the plot felt a little bit generic, ultimately falling flat for most of the audience. I mean, can you even name every Eternal team member like you can for the Guardians of the Galaxy?
Oh, well, let's see. There's the kid, the fast one, Cersei. Oh, I just can't remember none of them.
Exactly. There are not enough defining character traits to make all of them stand out.
Well, hold on. Ms. Marvel and Monica Rambeau both appeared in Disney Plus shows, which didn't help bring folks over to the Marvels.
Correct again, Doug. Disney is discovering that their Plus show watchers aren't necessarily going to theaters either, which creates even more of a need to develop self-contained character arcs. Most people in the audience left saying that Kamala Khan was the clear standout of the three because she was the most engaging, three-dimensional team member. And this is not because she had a show all of her own. It is because within the film itself, they established that she is happy to be there and working alongside her hero, Captain Marvel. She's thrilled to be around Nick Fury and finds being a superhero the most incredible job in the world.
We're a team.
Oh, no, we're not a team. We're not a team.
She's every Marvel fan in the first 3 phases, so we relate and we imprint on her. The Marvels work the best when the scenes are focused on the 3 leads and what they mean to each other. Imagine a film where the core conflict was Carol Danvers dealing with the fact that she's an icon to Kamala, and that she's an aunt to Monica and not living up to their expectations of what each of them sees her as. Now, while she has phenomenal cosmic power, she can't save everyone, which could disappoint Kamala initially, creating an internal struggle for her. Can she actually be the hero that other people perceive her to be? What if the film had explored more about how Monica felt about Carol when she wasn't around for her mom? What if Carol had to grapple with the fact that even though she was saving lives and had a legitimate reason for being absent, she was still a disappointment to someone she cared about? The bare bones of these narratives are in the movie, but the movie seems to care more about the plot of a bad guy trying to destroy the world, so these character conflicts either get resolved or swept under the rug very quickly. The plot is more important, and as a consequence, the characters appear surface level, which is the exact problem that Wish has. Marking the 100th anniversary of Disney's animation, Wish was created to celebrate this momentous occasion with a story that drew elements from his past animated hits. I mean, if you thought Marvel and Star Wars tended to go a bit extreme on their Easter eggs and references, you have not watched Wish yet. And judging by the box office, a lot of you haven't watched Wish yet. This film takes it to a whole other level, which is fine, but it's just that. It's fine. It's mid. Many people have complained that the lead, Asha, is too adorkable and that the trope feels old.
Is my mouth drooping? I feel like it's drooping.
I say it doesn't feel old, it just feels unjustified. Rapunzel was quirky because she had been kept in a tower her whole life, and therefore she was socially awkward. Anna, similarly to Rapunzel, had also been sheltered since she was isolated from her sister and the town. Mirabelle acts quirky because she's overcompensating and hiding her insecurity of being the only one in the family without any powers. Asha seems to be acting quirky because, well, it worked in the past, so let's do it here, without anything in the narrative suggesting why. She's popular, she has a loving family, she's up for a big job, and she's kind and caring of others. Her only flaw is that she doesn't seem to have one, which doesn't make her human or engaging as a POV character. She doesn't make choices with dire consequences and has no internal growth in the film. As an audience, we don't relate to our heroes because of their attributes. If anything, we connect more to their flaws. When presented with 3 wishes, Aladdin falters on his promise to release the genie with his last wish because he's lied about who he is.
What if they find out I'm not really a prince? What if Jasmine finds out?
The fear of rejection and loss drove Aladdin to break his word, and there were severe consequences for that choice that he spent the rest of the film atoning for. Mulan spends most of the movie attempting to find value and honor in herself as she feels like a constant disappointment for her family. She botches her test with the matchmaker and struggles to disguise herself as a man successfully. Only after she lets go of what she believes society expects of her does she indeed come into her own, discovering that she is resourceful and clever.
The greatest gift and honor is having you for a daughter.
There are important lessons to be learned from flawed characteristics, the most prominent being that we will make mistakes. We are human, and that's alright. It's what we do after those mistakes that define us. Something doesn't feel genuine when our heroes start out the gate, making all the right decisions and choices. I feel exhausted when I watch these characters set unrealistic standards for us, the audience, to live up to. Also, it's dull. Who wants to watch that?
I'm good, thank you.
When people say they have superhero fatigue, they're really fatigued by the formula. When people say Marvel and Star Wars feel like homework now, they're saying that because the writing does not present them with self-contained world-building scripts with fleshed out characters and stakes, they feel like they have to watch something else to follow what's happening. When people say there's too much content with the same archetype of personalities. Too many characters feel the same, have the same exact wants, and have a similar plot.
So wait, does that mean all these movies should be character-driven over plot-driven?
I mean, not at all, Doug. A spectacular film covers the best of both aspects. Blockbuster films are mostly plot-driven because the overarching themes and conflicts come at a grander scale, complementing the big screen experience. There's nothing wrong with that, but there's everything wrong if the viewer could care less about who the characters are and what will happen to them. This sense of sameness has made general audiences apathetic to Disney movies and shows, so that is the main issue that Disney needs to fix.
Hey person, before we go, I got you a present.
Aw, Doug, for me? That's so nice. Doug, this is the Holzkern watch, the one from before. The applewood face and the silver one. You got this for me? Does this mean that...
Yes, person, you are my best friend, and I think you're a real special guy.
It's really weird, but I'm genuinely moved by that. And thank you so much. And just a reminder, everybody, you can get 15% off a Holzkern purchase when you use the code ScreenCrush15 and click our link below. Big shout out to the writer of this video, Bevan. You can find her IG link below. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with our assessment? Do you disagree? Can Disney recover from this? Are you turned off entirely? Whatever your thoughts are, leave a comment down below. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe and smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.